Google surprised everyone last year by releasing their first foldable phone, and it was surprising because they released it so quickly. Sure, Samsung had already 4 generations of foldables under their belt when Google finally released their first foldable, but Google usually takes a long time to release a new product. Just look at how long it took them to get the Pixel Watch out, or an actual phone made by Google like the Pixel. So Google jumping on the foldable bandwagon this soon kind of surprised me. But even more surprising was how good this first generation Pixel Fold actually has been. Let's start with the design. In my original review, I talked about how I love the design. I mentioned how the outer display, the outer screen was amazing, and how I love the form factor of this foldable much more than the form factor of the Galaxy Fold line. And while that continues to be true, there is one thing with this design that's kind of annoyed me or hasn't aged really well. It has nothing to do with the form factor, but more with the actual hinge and how the phone opens up. The Pixel Fold has this weird thing where when you open it up, it doesn't open up all the way, or it just doesn't snap open like you would want a foldable to do. The Galaxy Fold hinge, for example, opens up and it just snaps in place and you're ready to use that inner display. The Pixel Fold, not so much. In fact, you can kind of see that it almost doesn't open up all the way. It almost seems like Google designed the Pixel Fold not to be so much opened, but to stay closed because the outer display is so good and the inner display is just kind of, I don't know, annoying to open up. It doesn't have that satisfying hinge that just snaps open. And a lot of the reviewers, when they first got the phone, actually said the same thing. But now, months after using this phone, it's kind of annoyed me after a while. Now, when it comes to the actual folding display inside, it has surprisingly held up over the past 9 months. I was expecting a first-gen Pixel device like the Pixel Fold to have some sort of issues, at least when it comes to the most delicate part of this phone, the inner display, but so far I haven't experienced any problems with the inner display. The screen protector hasn't really started to peel yet, at least for me personally, like other foldables have. So I have to admit, Google has done a really good job making a durable folding phone, at least for their first generation Pixel Fold. Now, there was one thing that did happen to me, and I think it could happen to others, and it could cause a really big problem with a folding phone like the Pixel Fold, and that's taking this around sand or dirt. You definitely don't want to do that. I had one issue where I took the Pixel Fold to the beach, kept it in my pocket the whole time. Somehow, sand got into my pocket and eventually got into the hinge or underneath the display. I knew this because when I tried to open up the phone, I could hear this crackling noise, and the phone didn't even open up all the way. Something was preventing it, that was inside the hinge, preventing it from opening up completely. So I immediately took it to some water because this phone is technically water resistant. Try to get whatever was inside the hinge or underneath that display out, and fortunately whatever was in there did come out and I was able to completely open up the phone, but there's some small indentations underneath the display. The good thing was nothing catastrophic happened to the phone. I was able to fix it, but it just goes to show you, if you take this around sand or dirt or anything outdoors really, you're running the risk of something really bad happening to this phone, because I didn't even really use this and somehow that almost happened to me. Very delicate phone, but really that's with all foldables. I thought I'd mention with the Pixel Fold though, be very careful if you do plan on going with something like the Pixel Fold. But now let's talk performance and how this phone has held up over the past year. The Google Tensor G2 chip that's inside of the Pixel Fold, I feel kind of gets a bad rap. People kind of look down on the Google Tensor as not performing as well as a Snapdragon. And yes, that technically is true. Benchmarks definitely show that the Snapdragon is a better processor when compared to the Google Tensor G2. But I will say, day-to-day usage, the Pixel Fold has been fantastic. It's a solid performing smartphone. Battery life has not been too bad as well. It gets me through a full day, and I definitely have to charge it by the end of the day, but performance has been solid. I haven't really noticed a huge drop-off when it comes to the Tensor G2. No overheating issues or anything like that. Performance has been pretty good. So I will give credit to Google on improving the Tensor G2, at least compared to that first generation. And I think Google is doing a good job kind of tailoring that chipset to take advantage of certain features that they want their smartphones to take advantage of. Now, when it comes to software though, I think that's where this Pixel Fold kind of falls behind, at least when compared to other foldables. I honestly prefer the Pixel user interface over something like One UI on Samsung because of how clean it is and the features that Google adds to it. But when it comes to a folding phone, not so much. And that's because Google doesn't really add too many features that really take advantage of this larger inner display. You kind of just have a large displayed smartphone instead of a phone that really has features that make you appreciate having that larger inner display. You have all those basic things like multitasking and split screen, but I feel like Samsung just adds every feature you can imagine to their folding phone that's gonna really make you appreciate having that larger display, and Google not so much. And having this larger display, you would think there'd be some type of stylus to take advantage of it. But Google didn't give us a stylus to take advantage of that larger display like Samsung does with the S Pen. So kind of a bummer when it comes to the Pixel Fold. I wish it had certain features that the Galaxy Fold has, but that's something that Google can definitely give us, hopefully with the Pixel Fold 2. Now, when it comes to the camera, I'm still really impressed with the Pixel Fold's camera system. And it's no surprise because Google does a really amazing job, a great job with their camera system. Even with lackluster hardware, their computational photography is able to really take advantage of that hardware and provide some amazing results. So that's one of the great things about the Pixel Fold. I'm really happy with the results from the camera. I still think Google does an amazing job with their portrait shots, and the video has been much improved, at least compared to previous Pixels. So I think sometimes with the folding phone, you feel like you're giving up a great camera experience because it's not gonna have the latest or the best hardware on that smartphone. But with the Pixel Fold, you're kind of getting the best of both worlds. I don't feel like you're suffering from a lackluster camera. You're kind of getting a good, solid camera experience, and it continues to be that way with the Pixel Fold so far. So in the end, the Pixel Fold has surprisingly been better 9 months later than I actually thought it would be. Durability is better than I thought. Performance has really held up over the past 9 months or so, and you're still getting a solid camera experience here. I feel like the form factor on the Pixel Fold, having that kind of wider, shorter outer display, is the way to go for a large foldable like this one. Now, the one issue that I have with these large foldables is the aspect ratio of the inner display. It's great for having 2 apps open at once and doing things on your phone, but for watching content, this aspect ratio is horrible because you'll notice that when you want to watch content on this phone, there's some large bars on the bottom and top because the content you're watching isn't really the aspect ratio of that inner display. It doesn't match, and it's almost useless for watching content because the actual screen that you're watching it on is almost the same size as a regular smartphone. So you're not really getting a larger display for watching content on that larger inner display, which is kind of a shame. Hopefully, these companies can do something about that inner display form factor. I don't really know what they can do, just maybe hopefully changing up the form factor some way to give us that nice wide outer display and a nice internal display that's perfect for watching content and at the same time multitasking. Maybe I'm asking for too much, maybe that's not even possible, but that's just my thoughts. But really, that's the same problem with most foldables right now. They have that same kind of internal form factor that's kind of useless for watching content on. So I can't really knock the Pixel Fold for that. So while the Pixel Fold 9 months later is still good, there are some things that I think Google can really do to make the Pixel 2 great. And I'm actually going to make a video of that. The top 5 things that I think the Pixel Fold 2 needs. So make sure you're subscribed to the channel so you don't miss that new video. And make sure you hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of our new videos. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more videos just like this one on tech news, reviews, and opinions, once again, make sure you're subscribed. And I'll see you on the next one.